Hello and welcome to the OverShadow ShadowCast with your host Thomas Anderson. I am back. As Abigail's been telling you, I've been having to, because of the coronavirus outbreak, or the virus which must not be named outbreak, the university that I've been studying to be a teacher at, has had to alter a lot of what it's been doing for its students because we can't go on placement because the schools are all shut and stuff. And stuff being it would kill people. So I've been doing the assignments and things like that. And have not been able to... It was inadvisable for me to try and do a podcast at the same time because... funnily enough, it would have been... I wouldn't have been able to put as much effort into it as I would have liked compared to Abigail, who offered to do them instead because she felt she was able to do a better job at the time. Totally agree. But it's back to me now for a while, so I'll be doing this one and I'll be doing next week's one. This is going to be a very short one. Next week's one will be much longer. But yeah, so I just finished off the last assignment I've got to hand in. If I pass it, I'm a teacher. And there's a few people now who just went, no. Humorously, of course. And I just feel that I'm very happy to have been able to focus on it and get it all finished. I'm very happy with the pieces of work that I've handed in. It's quite strange to have homework while you're studying to be a teacher, but it also makes sense. And now I am back to doing podcasts. Unfortunately, today it is going to be a very short one because I have not been feeling very well. And so I haven't had time to do the preparation that I would have liked. Hands up. That was, well, it's not my fault. I've not been feeling very well, but it's my, nothing we could have done. I didn't feel very well. So I'm going to do a slightly longer one next week to make up for that. And I'm going to give you a heads up on what I've been doing recently, games I've been playing today, and what we're going to be talking about next time. So I've been playing, because everybody's been at home, lots of Halo with Andrew, Samuel and James. Mention them quite a bit. James has been on before. Hopefully one of these days we'll be able to record one of those game sessions because they're a lot of fun. Although we may have to ask for some... we may have to buy a beep machine because we'll burn out the internet if we don't. But it's been a lot of fun. Halo, the Master Chief Collection to a degree, and Halo 5 mostly has been a lot of fun. It's been really good for de-stressing while we've been stuck inside. Although I actually tend not to go outside anyway, so it's not a big deal. I've been playing Shining Resonance Refrain. Started that a wee while ago and I spoke about it on the podcast. It's been interesting. It really presents itself as it's a JRPG. The story's quite interesting. The cutscenes are rubbish because they're not cutscenes. They're basically just like Pokemon scene, like two people looking at each other and then text comes up at the bottom. Sometimes it's voiced, sometimes it's not. The story is grasping and it does look really quite nice because I think it is a previous gen game that was remastered, or at least ported, sorry. But it presents itself as being a sort of wholesome game, and then you find in the options that you can dress all the female characters in maids outfits and schoolgirl outfits, and it sort of that's something subtly changes when you do that. I have to confess, I'm not as against, the hypersexualization, as it were, of people in video games, because I feel that if that's your thing, that's fine. If we can't shame people for being gay or straight or bi or whatever, you can't really shame them for liking cartoon characters or liking maids' outfits. So I really don't really... I'm kind of, if that's your thing, go ahead. It's just it sort of took me by surprise when I found it. And I understand the idea that the women, in action fantasy games are always wearing skimpy armour that doesn't make sense. but we sort of ignore all the times that women aren't. Like Halo, for example, where you don't even head to toe. And they mention people talk about the fact that they always dress up women in skimpy, and that's disrespectful to women. It's objectifying. Well, I have to say that if you've ever seen like Batman or Superman, the cartoons, I've never seen a man look quite as bulky as one of those guys. Even Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson would get smooshed by Batman. Although, as I say that sentence obviously makes sense. But just in sheer size terms, you don't get that pizza slice upper half very often. So I really don't mind it. To each their own. It's just it's interesting that people do get worked up about that. But if that's your thing, whatever. It's just, personally, I just found it funny and a little bit interesting that they'd put that in. But it is a side option. You don't have to do it. You kind of have to go looking to find it. And so if it caters for people who like that, and then everybody else can just play the game normally, where's the harm? I don't see it. But, I'm sure somebody will tell me. I've also been playing Forza 6. That's been a lot of fun. Interesting. I've been working out why the game's not as good as 5, and I think I've worked out that it's possibly slightly more built for wheel and pedal. That might be why it doesn't feel quite as in tune with the person using the controller. I found that some cars are fantastic and others just don't work at all. You try and drive in the rain, it's pointless. So I'm compared with 5, where it was just slightly more difficult. So I think that it might have been geared up for a different setup than a controller, and that's why some things work and some things don't. Almost like they ported it, but not from console or generation, but from one control system to another. But I've been thoroughly enjoying a little game of it here or there. I think that's everything I'm doing. It's everything that I'll be continuing to do. We've got coming up, we've managed to find a proper team for GTA Online. I've mentioned that me and Brian have got stuck a couple of times at certain points. We've now got a full team hopefully together to do that. So hopefully after Brian's finished his exams and work and things like that, basically beginning of June, we'll be able to start playing that. We may record some of it, which would be fun. And next week, what I'm going to be talking about is how everybody stuck inside has been quite beneficial to some degree for gaming, but how it's not been great for other aspects, like independent developers who are struggling because all of the expos have been shut down, so they can't get more funding for their games. And the companies, Bethesda, EA, Activision, are very much struggling this year because, well, to be honest, if you've not got a lot of time for gaming and you want to play something, you're going to pick something that from a big name and you're going to trust that it's good. If you've got more time, you're going to do your research and you're probably not going to buy as much. I think people who are at home thinking, what am I going to do? They're not necessarily going to spend their time the same way. So maybe some of those big whales that they mention, people buying lots of packs for the games that they make, have stopped and gone to play something else. So I'm going to be looking into that to see what's happening, because there's a lot of information regarding the losses that EA, Bethesda and Activision have made. So that's the sort of thing we're going to be talking about next week. And I'm going to be playing more games that I'll tell you about as well. So it should be a pretty long episode, but this one's going to be very simple and very basic, and we'll hopefully have something where I'm feeling a bit better. I think it's just the high workload's left me a bit tired. I'll be able to do something a little bit more expansive and then get back into the swing of things. Just a short one for me just now while I've been out of it for a while. So, I hope you are intrigued and that you enjoyed from this what you could, and that you're intrigued for next week, and I hope that you join us next week. So you can contact us. You can leave us a message underneath, a comment. All are welcome. You can contact us through email at overshadow.shadowcast@gmail.com. Facebook page will be used when we have videos. And we'll see you soon. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.